Hi, this is Dr. Mitchell Yass. Today we're going to discuss the muscle that makes us human. You could not stand on two legs without this muscle. Without question, this muscle is the greatest evolutionary change in humankind that has allowed humans to progress from prehistoric period to now. This is the muscle that allows us to be who we are. And without further ado, I will give you the gluteus medius muscle. Now, before we get into this, I want you to understand that I'm going to give you what I would equate to a university level understanding of the gluteus medius and how it works, how it relates to pain throughout the body. What you kind of are going to have to understand is that this is something I developed over time, well beyond my medical education when getting my degree in physical therapy. So everything I'm about to tell you and explain to you, feel confident that nobody in the medical establishment has this understanding. It's not part of a curriculum. This is something I've developed, this understanding, as a result of the passion that I've had in understanding how to properly diagnose and treat the cause of pain, which for the Yass method relates to interpreting the body's presentation of symptoms versus the use of diagnostic tests like MRIs, which is what the entire medical establishment depends on. So I've discussed in nauseam why you just completely have to ignore any type of diagnostic test, finding it is baseless in its presentation. And understand that the body, when having a tissue in distress, that tissue wants you to know it's in distress because it wants an intervention to resolve the distress of the tissue. So it's going to create symptoms, and each tissue creates specific symptoms. You see how it works? By understanding those particular symptoms, you can tell it's that particular tissue. That's the way the body works, right? So as a result of me treating people based on this understanding, I have come to a realization of the significance of the gluteus medius in terms of causing pain anywhere from the lower back, the hip region, knee region, ankle region, foot. And I'm going to go through those and I'm going to explain its mechanism. Now, before I actually get into it, I just want to point out that if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you like this video and the types of videos you're seeing on my YouTube channel, Dr. Mitchell Yass, I would love it for you to subscribe so that you get notifications when new videos are added or when I am live on YouTube. So with that little bit of business out of the way, let's talk the gluteus medius. The gluteus medius right here. You notice you have two. One on either side of the pelvis. It attaches from the pelvic rim and the pelvis to the head of the femur, which this is your hip joint right here, right? That's the hip joint. And so we have the gluteus medius attaching from the pelvis to the hip joint. And there are two of them, one on either side. So why is this the only muscle that allows us to stand on two legs? What gives us the ability to stand and create locomotion on two legs where the rest of the animals on the earth need four legs? So I want you to imagine this concept. So let's just say this is your right leg and this is your left leg. And you take your left foot off the floor. And this is your pelvis and you're standing on this leg, right? This is your right leg. If you took this off the floor, you would have one point of contact with the floor, just the right leg. You could imagine that sounds like that's a pretty unstable circumstance, that one point of contact to the ground. So what would happen is if you took this away, the left leg, you would expect yourself to tilt to that side, to the left side, right? You would fall to the left. Well, why don't you? Let's look at this muscle and how it works. So for every muscle, there is a stable side and a mobile side, meaning that the stable side is the locked position and the mobile side is the side of the muscle being moved towards the stable side. So imagine that the hip joint is the stable side, and the pelvis side is the mobile side. So if the gluteus medius was to grab the pelvis and pull down towards its attachment to the hip joint, you would imagine that this would go down. What would happen here? It would go up. So if you took this foot off the floor and it fell this way, the muscle would have the ability to bring that side up. I'll show it to you again. You take this foot off the floor, you would imagine the pelvis on that side to fall. This muscle grabs from the pelvis, pulling it down towards the hip joint. You can see that it brings the pelvis up on the other side. So if you realize that when you're standing on your left leg, your entire body weight is to the right. I'm sorry, if you stand on the right leg, your entire body weight is to the left of that right leg. That's why when you take this foot off, the left foot, you would fall to the left side. But if this muscle were to create enough force to bring that pelvis level, even though you have no left foot down and you're only standing on the right leg, the muscle pulling on the outside has the ability to create a balance point, thereby allowing you to stand with one point of contact. Truly wrap your head around this understanding, because I'm going to explain how this premise is responsible for pain from the lower back, the hip region, the knee, the ankle, the foot. Again, this is the left foot. We take it off the floor. You only have one point of contact, the right foot. All your body weight is to the left of the right foot. You would expect yourself to fall to the left. The muscle grabs from its attachment to the pelvis and pulls down the pelvis towards the hip, bringing the left side of the pelvis up. It's cantilevering around the spine, right? So it brings it up. When you get enough force of the gluteus medius pulling down, you can keep the left side up until it's level with the right side, giving you balance, allowing you to single leg stand on the right leg, no left foot on the floor. Why is that so critical? Well, let's say I'm going somewhere. You're going to have to take your left foot off the floor to get there, to propel yourself, to create locomotion. Well, for you to take that left foot off the floor, you better have enough strength of the right glute med to allow you to have balance and stability to allow you to be able to place that in front of you comfortably, right? If you're going upstairs, the same concept. Life as a bipedal animal can only exist and function can only occur if you could stand on one leg, which then allows the other leg to be put in front of you, or kneel down, or whatever you want to do, right? You can only exist with one foot on the floor and the other foot propelling you if you have balance. And the only way to have balance is if you have a strong gluteus medius muscle. So, kind of an interesting thing that'll happen is people will say, along with my pain, I notice that it's really, really hard to put my left foot in front of me. And they start to think there's something wrong with the left leg. But based on this presentation, you would understand that the problem isn't that the left leg, although you're having difficulty putting the left foot out, there's nothing wrong with the left leg. It's the fact that the right gluteus medius is so weak that as soon as you take the left foot off, you fall to the left so quickly that you don't have time to put your left foot in front of you. That's why you can't propel yourself on the left side. It's not that there's something wrong with any aspect of the left leg. There's something wrong with the right leg, the right gluteus medius muscle. So that is an understanding of how the gluteus medius muscle allows us to both stand on one leg and allows us to propel ourselves with two legs, allowing one leg to be off the floor, moving it forward while you stand on the opposite leg. That is why we can be a two-legged animal, not a four-legged animal. Now, with that understanding, let's talk about where pain can occur if, in fact, you have a strained glute med. So you're going to be shocked when you understand these concepts. So let's say that this is weak. We said that it was necessary to be strong enough to keep your pelvis level so that you have balance and you can push that through. But let's say that it's weak. Well, the body is going to do its best to try to help you. And so there's a muscle that sits right here called the QL, quadratus femorum. It attaches from the bottom of the rib cage to the top of the pelvis on the opposite side. So if this is weak and this tries to fall, then there is a possibility that that muscle will try to help. And because of its attachment from the rib cage to the pelvis, it can try to pull up on the pelvis towards the rib cage and support that opposite side. Well, it's not designed to do that, that lower back muscle, so most likely it will strain. And when it strains, it has a tendency to shorten. So let's say that you're having left lower back pain, and simultaneously, I look at your pelvis and I find that the top of the pelvic ring on the left is higher than the right. Well, that's going to probably tell me that the reason you're having left lower back pain is because the right glute med is weak and the left lower back muscle tried to compensate. So you can have lower back pain as a result of a weak gluteus medius muscle. Here's a shocker for everybody. And I did a post on this once. I did a YouTube video, and boy, a lot of people got real angry about it, but the facts are the facts. So scoliosis can be created by a weakened gluteus medius muscle. If the pelvis is the foundation for the spine and the spine runs perpendicular to the pelvis, it can only run vertical if the pelvis, the foundation, is horizontal to the ground. If the pelvis drops on one side or the other, it's going to change the angle of the spine to vertical. And let's say this were to drop on that side. Now you're going to see your spine running out that way. Well, you're never going to be able to walk with your head outside your hip. So the body's going to compensate. It's going to try to suck you back so that you can keep your head over. What are you going to see in your spine? You're going to see a curvature. So you get curvature of the spine due to the inability of the gluteus medius muscles to maintain a level foundation for the spine. So when someone says that the scoliosis is creating your pain, that's just a complete fallacy. It doesn't even mean anything. The misalignment of bones doesn't cause pain. If you're going to say tissues in distress cause pain. So if we're talking about the skull, if someone's trying to say it's scoliosis, then they're trying to say your vertebrae are creating pain. Well, vertebrae are bone. What would cause a bone to create pain? Fracturing. Fracturing causes bone to create pain. Well, unless you can show me there's fracturing where the misalignment of the vertebrae are, you can't tell me the pain is coming from the bone. This is just straight science, straight fact. Okay? So what's causing the scoliosis is a misalignment, is a imbalance of strength of your gluteus medius muscles, not allowing you to have a level pelvis, right? So when you get that scoliosis, you're also going to see an imbalance between the muscles on either side of the spine that attach. If you don't have a vertical spine, a perpendicular to the ground spine, then the muscles aren't going to pull equally. You're going to give an advantage to one side or the other if the spine goes towards that side. So as a result, muscles on one side are going to shorten, and eventually they're going to pull excessively on the spine, eliciting pain at the spine, but not from the bones. It is the pull of the muscle that's creating the spine, the pain at the spine. So I'll say it slowly again. Scoliosis is a symptom, not a cause of pain at the back. Scoliosis is not a cause, but a symptom of pain at the lower back. The pain and the scoliosis are the result of a weakness or imbalance of muscle that are applying forces to the spine. In this particular case I'm describing, it is weakness of the gluteus medius muscle. So lower back pain could be caused by a weak glute med. Scoliosis can be caused by a glute med problem. Let's talk about in the hip region. Well, this is the hip region. So the muscle itself, straining, can cause pain. There's a muscle that runs from, this is the back of the pelvis. If we look at the front of the pelvis, we would see a muscle, kind of a ligamentous type of tissue connection called the iliotibial band. Many people know that. At the top of it is a muscle called the tensor fasciae lata. So that muscle attaches, muscle ligamentous band attaches from the front of the pelvis all the way down to the knee. Well, it also acts as a hip abductor, an attempt to stabilize as well. So if the gluteus medius strains, the iliotibial band can strain and elicit pain. So we could have pain in the pelvic region, side of the pelvis from a strained glute med, or the iliotibial band, which can create pain on the side of the thigh, or even pain at the knee joint. Okay? Then if we're looking at the back of the pelvis, there's a muscle that runs right here from the sacral spine to the hip joint right next to the gluteus medius called the piriformis muscle. Gluteal region pain can be caused by a weak glute med because the piriformis tries to assist with the weak glute med. It strains and elicits pain. So we could have gluteal region pain. We could have pain in the groin area. If that gluteus medius is weak and this starts to drop to that side, you'll notice that the pelvic region, the center of the pelvis, which is the pubic region on the other side, actually gets closer to the femur, the thigh bone. Well, any muscle that's going to run in this area is going to shorten. There are two muscles, the sartorius muscle and the gracilis muscle. Both can strain and shorten, eliciting pain in the groin region from a weak glute med. So for everyone having groin pain, if you hear this and some wonderfully philanthropic individual in the medical establishment is convincing you that the pain is from your hip, they are completely disillusioned. They are completely uneducated to the understanding that it is muscle creating pain in the groin. It has nothing. There is no such thing as groin pain being referred from the hip joint. Joints don't refer symptoms. Muscles can and nerves can. Okay? So even groin pain can be from a strained right glute med. How about knee pain? Well, if we look at, I'm going to show you reverse nut. Now we're going to say this is the stable side, this is the mobile side. So if we stand on this leg, and let's say we were going to bend down a little bit, if that would have happened, we would expect the gluteus medius to pull from the hip joint up and in towards the pelvis. Well, imagine if it was pulling from here. What would that do to the femur? It would cause it to come out. Cause it to come out. Well, if that's weak, the knee can cave in. So people who present anatomically with a knee that's caved in, it is not the knee joint that's causing your problem. I don't care about your arthritis. I don't care about anything anyone else is telling you about meniscal tears causing the pain. The reason you're having pain is because your gluteus medius is weak. You cannot support your knee under your hip. And with that excess force of the knee being caved in, the muscles on the inside of the joint are being asked to do what all the muscles surrounding the knee should do. Now you're asking just the muscles on the inside, primarily the hamstring, the medial hamstring, and that's why you end up having pain at the inside of the knee joint, right? So it's not the joint. They're going to show you the picture that the inside aspect of the joint has been diminished in size. But who gives a crap? That doesn't mean anything. That could have been like that for 30 years. Your pain comes when you go to weight bear. Weight bearing is the result of muscular contraction. So forget the joint. It's because the muscle, the gluteus medius, is not allowing that knee to stay directly under the hip. And therefore, when it caves in, you don't support yourself through the entire surface area of the knee, only a much smaller portion, the inner knee. And that's going to stress the muscles in the inner knee to overwork. Okay, so knee pain can be caused by a weak glute med. Let's talk about the ankle. Remember, we're saying that when this is balanced, you're going to weight bear right through the midline of the leg, through the midline of the foot. If it's weak, every time you take that foot off, there might be a slight dropping of the opposite leg. Let's say there's the right leg, there's the left leg. So every time you step on the right leg and the left leg is taken off, you might get a slight dropping and your center of mass might shift just enough to the inside of the foot. So you're not going to be weight bearing through the midline of the foot. You're going to be weight bearing through the inside of the foot. What's at the inside of the foot? The arch. Okay? So you're going to stress the arch. What muscles support the arch? The anterior and posterior tibialis muscles. Okay? So those muscles weren't designed to take that excess load. They're going to break down. They're going to strain. You're going to lose your arch. Anyone who says that a fallen arch is somehow a structural problem is, again, psychotic. Makes no sense. No basis of logic for this statement. Those are bones. The arch is created by bones. Bones don't determine where they're going to be. The support of the arch comes from two muscles that act as a hook, go under the foot and pull up. The anterior and posterior tibialis muscles. If they strain and weaken, you lose the support of the arch. You flatten your arch. okay? So you could cause pain at the inside of the ankle. You could cause plantar fasciitis, pain at the underside of the foot near the attachment to the heel, right? What's happening there? We just said you lose the arch. If you lose the arch, the distance between the balls of the foot and the heel increase, therefore stressing and stretching the plantar fascia, leading to it eliciting pain at its attachment to the heel. So if you're having an arch issue and someone says, oh, use an orthotic. Well, an orthotic is going to replace the muscles, right? It literally becomes a false support, an external appliance, which is replacing an internal mechanism. That's not going to make your muscles stronger. It's going to make them weaker. It's going to feed into your dependency on the orthotic. If you want to support your arch, you strengthen the gluteus medius, the hip muscle, to get you to weight bear back through the midline of the foot, and then support and strengthen the anterior and posterior tibialis muscles of the arch that support the arch, and you're going to be good to go. No more ankle pain. Oh, and by the way, no more bunions. You stop bunions in the very same manner. So if you really want to get hardcore theoretical, you could say that if the right glute med weakens and your hip drops to the left, well, that's going to bring your head to the left. And again, because your head is not centered, if it's to the left, you're going to have a greater tendency for it to be pulled to the left, so you can end up having right neck pain. I'm not saying it's all the time. I'm just saying it's a possibility due to a weak glute med. Would have to be evaluated. All right? So with that being said, that is a complete dissertation, probably higher than a university level dissertation on the gluteus medius. I've explained how it is responsible for allowing us to stand on two legs. It is the primary muscle that allows it to happen. Without the gluteus medius and the development of it, as we went from 4 legs to 2 legs, we could not stand, we could not have locomotion. Its significance in keeping the pelvis level affects every aspect of the body, from the spine, as I just mentioned, even up to the head, all the way down to the foot. You'll have pain at multiple locations. What's the problem with the medical establishment? Why do I want you to come to the Yass Method, which is outside of the medical establishment, versus staying with them? Because they take the foolish, short-sighted approach that the cause of pain is where the pain is experienced. That is a fallacy. In more than 99% of cases I treated over 28 years, the cause is not there, it's somewhere else. The body works as a mechanism, a chain, if you will. And if one aspect breaks down, it will cause another aspect to try to compensate, thereby eliciting pain at that secondary aspect. In this particular case, I just showed you that the gluteus medius can cause pain in multiple locations. But the medical establishment, if you have pain at a particular joint, will simply take an x-ray of that joint, find some structural variation, and say that's the cause of your pain. That's nonsense. That is easily disputed by the idea, by the fact that if you're having this pain and it's associated with doing activity, that you have pain when you do the activity or at night after, but if you're having the pain and you sit down and it goes away or diminishes, clearly it's not a structure. If it was a structure, you'd have pain continuously, the same level of pain continuously, right? You only have it associated with activity. All right, well, with that being said, I hope this has been extremely, extremely informative. And I hope it allows you to have a greater understanding of what the potential causes of pain are, and even a little bit of excitement and interest in understanding why you're a human and what allows you to be a human. So if this is making sense to you and maybe you're having some symptoms and you're saying, wow, this really sounds like it does relate to my symptoms, and you want to contact me regarding your situation and determining whether the Yass Method can be used, you can contact me by email at drmitch@mitchellyass.com. If you're saying to yourself, there's no doubt, this is the path. This guy really sounds like he's talking to me, and you want to understand how to get the Yass Method virtually, so you don't have to come to Jacksonville, Florida to get it. I have been doing Skype sessions before there was even a Zoom for years, and now I utilize Zoom. And so you could get a Yass Method virtual session by going to my website, www.livewithoutpains.com. livewithoutpains.com, it's plural, livewithoutpains.com/sessions. And you'll learn about the sessions, how they work, what you can expect as testimonials. There's an actual session, raw video of what it looks like and how it works. And if you decide you want to make an appointment, then there is a scheduler there, and you can schedule your appointment the day and time that's most comfortable for you, and we'll be ready to go. This session's a videotaped, and that allows you to utilize the videotape to make sure you're doing the exercise, assuming I confirm the cause is muscular. You'll do it correctly using the proper understanding of progressive resistance, which is how you make muscle stronger. Again, that is at the core of the Yass Method. You're not going to find this understanding anywhere in the medical system or even in the fitness industry. The use of progressive resistance and the ability to perform isolated strength training is at the core of the Yass Method. This understanding I developed after my medical training. This is truly unique to me and my understanding and the development I had achieved through the treatment of thousands of people over 28 years. So, all right. I think that's all we're going to say for now. So for now, this is Dr. Mitchell Yass, wishing you a pain-free, fully functional life. Bye-bye.